A title that may make you wonder, what's in a name? Shivers of dread, for starters. And now, from my Dark Matters collection, I present to you Hauptmann's Ladder. When Dan Phillips' laptop froze, so did he. It was the profile of a large black and red padlock at the center of his screen that sent his mind into high alert. The phrase ransomware attack bounced around his head like a pinball. Dan was a cybersecurity specialist, and so the irony of what was happening was not lost on him. But everything changed for the worse when he realized this had nothing to do with malware data encryption. It was the name of the ransomware group, Hauptmann's Ladder, that sent shivers of dread through his body. Dan recognized the name and remembered the history well enough to realize that his computer was probably locked for a much more nefarious reason. He yelled up to his wife, Emma, to check on their daughter, who should still be asleep on this early Sunday morning. His wife's loud and anguished cry from the upstairs bedroom was followed by words too horrible to process. "She's gone! Sophie's gone! I looked everywhere, Dan. She's not here!" And so a parent's worst nightmare began to unfold in the Phillips home. Emma stood staring at Dan's locked screen, confused and frightened. "Dan, Hauptmann's Ladder. What's that? Please don't tell me it has anything to do with Sophie." "It's the ransomware group. They're new to me, but I know what the name implies. And it just might." Might what?" she cried. "Shh! Easy, Emma. Please, do your best to settle down. Panicking will do us no good. You have to trust me. Calmly, slowly, check your phone." Both of their phone screens were frozen too, with the same black and red padlock. Hauptmann's Ladder had locked their private accounts as well. "But Dan, Hauptmann's Ladder, what's the connection to Sophie? Please, you're scaring me." "It's Hauptmann's Ladder, Emma. Bruno Hauptmann was a German immigrant who was arrested for the abduction and murder of the Lindbergh baby back in the early 1930s. Charles Jr. was only 2 at the time, and despite the Lindberghs paying a huge ransom, their baby's body was found in the woods near their home in New Jersey. Bruno Hauptmann was a carpenter who built a ladder that allowed him to get to the baby's upstairs bedroom. The wood he used to construct the ladder that he left behind was a crucial piece of evidence, as it matched the rafters in his home. Hauptmann was found guilty of first-degree murder and was sentenced to die in the electric chair. Emma Phillips shook uncontrollably, gasping for breath, shaking her head. "No, Dan, no, please tell me this isn't happening." And then thoughts from the darkest corners of her mind began to overwhelm her. The uncertainty and dread were unbearable. Seconds felt like hours while they fixated on Dan's laptop screen. Suddenly, the image of a black and red padlock was replaced with a digital countdown timer. It read 180 seconds. With a message. Emma could not bear to look while Dan read it to her with little emotion. It says, "Any attempt to contact your authorities will prove futile, as we are not of your world. We will be in direct communication shortly. Understand that we have no intention of harming your child. You have 3 minutes to compose yourselves. Prepare to pay close attention, as our message will not be repeated." Christ, Emma. This must be some kind of a sick joke, and And then Dan stopped mid-sentence as they watched the countdown begin. 3 minutes later, their 8-year-old daughter, Sophie, appeared. She looked happy and cheerful and unharmed. "Hi, Mommy, hi, Daddy," she said, as if it was just another Sunday morning, waving happily to her parents. A humanoid creature suddenly took the place of their daughter. The alien being had an oversized cranium, 2 very prominent bulbous black eyes, no visible ears, a single small hole where a nose would be, and blue-green skin that shimmered with iridescence. The alien's narrow, slit-like mouth curled into what looked to be a reassuring smile. "Mr. and Mrs. Phillips, please don't be alarmed. Sophie is safe and sound, happy, and enjoying her new home in cyberspace. I hope you didn't find my Hauptmann's Ladder reference too upsetting, but it was deemed necessary in order to gain your immediate attention. I work for an intergalactic recruiting firm, that supplies a wide variety of advanced vertebrate animals to cyber gamers throughout the Andromeda galaxy. My department places children like Sophie into some of the most challenging games available. Her genetic intelligence indicators made her a perfect candidate. We are sure that you will miss her, but her stay in cyberspace is only temporary. Sophie will be returned unharmed in approximately 10 Earth years, if she so desires. The good news is she will not age a single day since her acquisition last night. In addition, you'll be allowed one 15-minute telecommunication session per Earth year. Your annual privilege will allow you to see that your daughter is healthy, safe, and happy, and a willing participant. Megadeth 6 is extraordinarily popular with our esports communities. And unlike most, Sophie's role should not place her in any physical or psychological jeopardy. You can breathe easy now, as all of your devices will soon be unlocked, with all data intact. Full disclosure, Mr. and Mrs. Phillips, we do provide all participants the option of returning to their birth planet, if they want. We make no attempt to coerce any one of our millions of acquisitions to remain in their assigned cyber games. Yet, I can count on the fingers of one hand the number that have chosen to return home. The alien then held up a smooth, slender hand with only 3 long blue-green fingers that shimmered with iridescence. Have a nice day, Mr. and Mrs. Phillips. After what sounded like a stifled chuckle, their screens unlocked, and the countdown for their first telecommunications session with Sophie appeared in the upper right-hand corner of their screens. The countdown timer read 525,600 minutes, 0 seconds. Dan and Emma Phillips stared blankly as the seconds began to tick